Hi, and welcome to ThreatTraq Essentials, where we will take a look at some everyday cybersecurity lessons that we can learn from this week's ThreatTraq stories. I'm here with Ganesh Kasina. Welcome, Ganesh.
Hey, Don, how are you doing?
And you were on the show this week, and you brought us a story about BMC. What is BMC? It's baseboard management controllers. What do they do?
They're basically like mini components which are used in various servers. Almost every brand, they kind of use it. They provide some sort of management to how to access various devices like external disks. For example, floppy disk is ubiquitous, as well as CD-ROM.
People still using them, huh? They need to, I guess, right, for legacy material?
Legacy material, but it's there, but that's how it evolved. I think even though floppy disk is the name I picked up, but it can be used for any sort of USB device.
So it really manages the server's access to USB devices?
Yeah, in this case, yes.
Okay. And in this case, there's a vulnerability there. Tell me about that and what it would allow an attacker to do.
I mean, in this case, not one vulnerability. I think there are 3 to 4 vulnerabilities. They're combining it called as USB Anywhere. These vulnerabilities, as a combined, they can provide access to the remote attacker, like because of the usage of plain text authentication. Sometimes some BMC controllers, they use encryption, but the encryption they used is very weak, which can be easily breakable.
So it allows an attack. They're calling it USB Anywhere, I guess, as the vulnerability, because that means anybody anywhere can get in?
Yeah, basically you expect any USB device to be physically localized. For example, if you have a server, you can plug in a CD drive or a floppy drive physical to that one. But because of this USB Anywhere, if an attacker can get access to that BMC controller, they can basically mount or access any of the USB devices connected to this BMC controller. That's why they named it USB Anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that allows them to do what? To really control anything, go anywhere they want in the server? Or what does that do?
There's speculations, for example, even though you're not using a floppy disk to mount it, for example, I can mount, in the sense, any attacker can mount, some USB device, let's say some external USB drive, which has some malicious code on it. You can basically mount it and can use it to propagate to other systems.
So you can attach remotely a malicious USB drive and get malware onto the server that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one of the attackers, I think.
So for the average person, is there a lesson that comes out of this? Let's just say they aren't administrating servers, but what other lessons can they draw from this story?
In this case, more of the user part, basically I think it's a vulnerability present in the BMC servers itself. I think right now, as per the researchers, they reached out to the microservers. I think versions of microserver BMC implementations, they found these 4 vulnerabilities. They reached out to the microserver. They are in the process of providing the updates. But meanwhile, a savvy user can basically block access to the port 623 TCP.
So is there a patch available?
Patches are being available. Now there are certain versions actually vulnerable to this one. Like for example, I think microserver X9 to X11 are vulnerable. Some patches are available for different versions. I think last time when I checked, what microserver is suggesting is check back with them frequently, as because they are trying to build the patches for these vulnerabilities.
And so you want to patch this software?
You want to. I think once you patch, these vulnerabilities will be plugged down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Doman brought us a story about an attack. What was that called?
It's called a Great Cannon attack. Which is not new. I think it came a few years ago, which is stemmed from usage of the Great Firewall of China. So
just explain this to us. So the Great Cannon attack, is a DDoS attack?
It's a DDoS attack, like a distributed denial of service attacks. In this case, I think, for example, when these type of attacks happens, any server or maybe service will be unavailable to the intended users. How this has been done is there are certain number of systems which constantly try to attack the service or server in this case. So the server is trying to basically respond to those requests.
All at once,
and it is overwhelming.
It just goes down.
Yeah.
So this is in a sense, a way that an attacker can shut down a website.
A website, a server, a service. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, how did it work? It worked through browsers, right? Was it browsers?
I think in this case, the attack vector is unknowing user visiting certain websites. For example, I think most of the websites belong to, I think, Chinese Great Firewall of China region. When the users are visiting them, some sort of JavaScript being downloaded to their browsers, which
so just by visiting the site?
By visiting the site.
Did they not clicking on anything, not downloading anything, just visiting that site would download this malicious script into your browser?
Yeah, and users are unaware of, as Chris explained, users are unaware of it. They got this applet, whatever it is, on their systems. When the time comes, the attacker can decide to use those actually user system, infected systems to use it to attack the victim.
So by visiting this site, you get this malicious code into your browser, and it takes your device, it makes it part of the botnet that can attack a site.
Yeah.
So in general, not just for this specific botnet, but in general, what advice can we give people here?
I mean, in general, I think users should pay attention to what kind of sites they are trying to visit, especially questionable websites. You should pay attention. And also whether they're encrypted or not, like HTTPS or not, maybe that can minimize certain types of risks. But these are not foolproof, but definitely they can give some protection about these kind of attacks.
So you really have to be careful what websites you visit, and really just keep an eye on your computer.
And try to not download anything from the internet, and not anything is...
right, especially from a suspicious site, a site you don't know, you don't want to download anything from there.
Yeah.
Right.
And also I think it's always a good practice to have some sort of antivirus, anti-malware protection. Sometimes they can detect this kind of activities because injection is going on to the browsers. Maybe they can trip and alert the user. That's a giveaway, something is not right.
No, well, that's great advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ganesh, for sharing all these stories today.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching. As always, if you click on the playlist below, you can take a deeper look at any of these stories. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.